Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today's video is featuring these adorable little stamp sets. This is the Bear Hugs from Anita Duran and Colorado Craft Company, and then it's Coordinating Die. This is one of the mini stamp sets, and I did a video with a bunny over the summer as well, where I just used that one smaller stamp set to do a scene card. And I think that's so important to show that you don't have to have all of the things in order to have a stamp set or something new that's going to be super versatile. So let's talk about what we're doing here. We are creating some ink blended backgrounds. I'm only going to use one of these. And actually, I thought I was going to use them for something different. That's why you see me doing two. But the other one, I'll just set aside and I'll use it for another card another time. The ink blending is really, really simple. Just some light, medium, dark greens on the bottom for some grasses, and then some light, medium, darker blues, blue-greens really, at the top for some sky. These are great panels to just kind of have on hand if you are looking to make a kind of quick and easy scene card, which is pretty much what I'm doing today. So before we get too much further along into the video, I do want to let you know that Colorado Crafts is having a sale. Right now they're doing one of their buy two, get one free. It's a 2-day event. It's good through tomorrow, which is Sunday, February 18th at midnight Mountain Time. And they also have reduced shipping. It's I think $3.95 for US people and $15.95 for international. So the best way to capitalize on these particular sales, if you should so choose to do so, is to put things in the cart. So if you're going to buy one of these mini sets, buy 2 mini sets, get a 3rd mini set free. That way because the free thing is always going to be the cheapest thing in the cart. You know what I'm saying? And then if you're going to get dies, coordinating dies for those, do that in a separate order, because ultimately it is going to save you more money. Even if you have to pay the $3.95 shipping twice, you are going to save more dollars. But that's just that. So when I titled the video, Bigger Doesn't Mean Better, it's because of these littler stamp sets. I think we're pretty much accustomed to, most of the time, you'll see a 4x6 stamp set. That's pretty standard. A lot of companies also frequently have 6x6 or 6x8. And obviously, the bigger they get, the more images that you get and the higher the price point. But sometimes we are on a budget. And sometimes we still want something a little new. And these little stamp sets are a great way to do that, to get something that will kind of extend our stash. And so that we still feel like, we're getting a little something new without having to buy the whole kit and caboodle, if you will. So one of the ways that I really like using these smaller stamp sets is by utilizing things that I already have in the background. So we have the ink blending, and then obviously I own a lot of alcohol markers because that's kind of my thing. You could do this with any medium. You could do this on watercolor paper and paint it. You could do this with colored pencils. You could do this with crayons if you wanted to, honestly. You can do this with whatever you have. And we're just going to be drawing some really simple bamboo. So the first 2 that I did the little bumps at the same time that I was drawing the lines. For these next 3, I'm going to do just a straight or a curved line, and then I'm going to add just the little bumps on the side. I'm doing this in my lightest color. This is a YG01, and I'm doing that because I have no idea what I'm doing. True facts. That's the honest truth. I have not done the little bamboos before, and so I had a general idea of how I thought that they would go. But when I am scared of something or I am unsure of it, I always start in my lightest color because it's the easiest to cover up if something goes horribly awry. So for these ones, you just pick whatever bamboo you want to be in the front. I am not going with my darkest color to outline these. I'm going with the darker mid-tone, which for me is a YG17. And then for the like the outline, obviously I'm just doing like little straight lines. For the like the ribbed portion where like the bamboo meets its next section, I'm doing curved lines, horizontal curved lines. And you're going to see as we go along here, it's not perfect. My bamboo is not perfect. It doesn't have to be, because the focal point is our cute little panda bear. And this is just like the icing on the cake. So we want it to create the feel of this scene card. Like that's the whole point of it, is like this vibe of the scene, this cute little panda, sitting around munching on his little bamboo. But it does not have to be perfect, because your brain is going to view it as a whole. It's not going to view your bamboo as individuals. It's just going to view it as a whole scene. So don't be too hard on yourself. Just roll with it. This card was actually my husband's Valentine's Day card. And as soon as I got the sets, I knew that I wanted this to be his Valentine's Day card, because my husband loves a pun. My husband loves a dad joke. And in this set, while it only has one focal point image, it has multiple sentiments. And one of them says, "You're my bamboo," like hyphenated, like, "Hey boo," like, "You're my boo, my bamboo." I thought it was adorable. And so I was like, yep, this is it. This is what we're going for. So the outside sentiment that I put on the outside, and you'll see me stamp that part, says, "Life without you would be unbearable." The great thing about this particular bear is there are no lines that make it a panda outside of, like, it has the little circles around the eyes. But you could color this bear any color that you wanted and have a polar bear or a black bear or a brown bear. And so I love images that are super versatile like this. I did color mine as a panda because obviously, I wanted to use the bamboo sentiment, but the sentiment that says, "Life without you would be unbearable" can be used for any bear. Or maybe you have another set that has like a cute little bear sentiment that you could use. Or maybe you just have somebody in your life that loves bears, and you could do the mirror technique and have two bears. You could stamp two bears. So even though these stamp sets are smaller, they are mighty. They're small but mighty. So don't discount them just because they're not like these big, bold images. Now, I should have mentioned earlier, and I did not. If you are a person who likes big, bold images, or you are a fan of Anita Duram stamps, this set that I'm using today is not included in the sale. But they do have several stamp sets that I've used before, like Anita's, like the little cat and dog picnics, or the what are they? The bunnies, the gardening bunnies. Those are included in the spring. What is it? It's an Easter and St. Patrick's Day sale is what the sale is. And the big and bold flowers where we did the bokeh background. So I'll link some of those videos in case you end up, shopping the sale and getting some of those sets and are looking for some inspiration. But there's lots of really good stuff in there because I whether you celebrate St. Patrick's Day or not, the Easter portion of it is very spring related for their release, also Easter, and there's great images for that. But anywho, so if you are a big and bold person and that is what you want, there are some on sale in this sale. Okay, moving on. So you've seen me color these up a couple of times. Let's talk about what we're doing. So with my darkest color, I am adding the shadows to the bottom of like the little rivets in the bamboo. And I'm also adding shading to the base of the bamboo underneath each of those little rivets, because the highlight on the little rivets is what's going to set them apart and create that dimension. So there has to be some darkness behind it in order for the highlight to pop forward. Also at the top, I'm doing a little bit of dark in a rounded line, kind of like a little half circle, to create the top of the bamboo shoot. Then with my midtone, which is what we originally outlined it in, that's going to be the majority of the color for the actual shoot part. Then I'm going right over the darkest part in the rivet with that. And then my lightest color is going to be this YG03, and I'm just kind of filling everything in, getting really good like crisp lines on the rivets to end it, because it is an outline drawing. We don't have that bold black outline to cover it up. So now at this point, we've got a couple of bamboo shoots. You obviously could do as many as you wanted, but I just wanted enough to frame my little bear. And then I am going to put some grasses down at the bottom. I have a whole video on how I do these little grasses, but the long and short of it is make sure your marker is well inked. Do you see this? I need to refill my YG07. But basically you're going to put the tip of the marker down and then you are going to flick up. I typically do this in 3 to 4 colors just because it creates a different level of depth. And then I'm going to go in with a different shade of green. This is a much darker shade of green. And this is a G29. I'm going to use the tip of my marker to draw a very thin stem. And then I'm going to put some little leaves on it. For me, this is what really kind of brought the whole thing together. It's going to fill in that empty space in between my little bamboo shoots. And it's also going to help give it a ton of dimension, because some of the leaves are going to be on top of other bamboo shoots. Some of them are going to look like they're coming out from behind. And you could do this in, different colors. I didn't think it needed it. So I just went with that dark green. And in order to create the leaf shape, really, really simple. So you're just going to kind of pull the marker in a backwards C shape, and then do the same thing on the other side. So you pull the marker out kind of in a C shape, and then just, create a line on the other side. This is going to help give those long leaf shapes that you see with bamboo. If you want them to be a little bit thicker, you could do a C shape on the opposite side, which would make them a little bit wider. But leaf shapes are really, really simple to do. If you're like, Kelly, I absolutely cannot do what you are describing to me, then draw your stems and then press your marker down with the tip touching the stem. Just press it down and it will create its own leaf shape. You won't have to draw anything at all. So once I was done and I had enough little bamboos in here that I was happy with the way that it was filling out, then I can go ahead and move on to, here, I was just catching the little side there. It looked like it wasn't complete. I'm going to move on to stamping my bear. Now, because we only have one focal point, we only have this one image that we're working with. So nothing, too crazy as far as the coloring, because pandas are black and white. But again, I reiterate, you could totally do, brown or white or any kind of bear that you would like. You would just color it in that solid color. So I'm going to stamp this in Intense Black ink. The one that I used today was Honeybee's Intense Black ink. I have a couple that I go through that I'm happy with, but you want to use something that's safe for alcohol markers. And then I'm running the gamut here from a C1 all the way out to a 100, which is black. The reason for that is because even though he is white, we do still need to add some shadows to his face, to his belly. So where his arms are brought up, there'd be a shadow cast on his belly. Where his legs are meeting, there would be a shadow on his belly. Same thing around like the outskirts of his head, behind his nose, because his snout would stick out. There would be a little bit of shading. But you do want to leave yourself plenty of white area because they are white. So I know it looks gray. I know. And if you watch my videos, you've heard me say this before, hang tight. Once we add the black in and then we put him in the scene, his little belly will look white. So you cannot color something black without putting black in it. So sometimes you just gotta, I know dark colors are scary, but you just gotta do it. So I put the black, the darkest portion, where my shadows are going to be. His arms are pointing down, so the shadow is going to be, down closer to his belly. He has one hand over the other, munching his little bamboo. So we want to make sure that the paw that's on top is the lighter color. For his legs, his feet are in front of his legs. So we're going to have shading where his foot is meeting his leg. And then we're also going to have shading at the bottom of his foot. You want to make sure for those you're leaving a lighter edge because you're going to have black on black. But if you use that, your lightest color, which for us is going to be a C5, if you use that to create a little highlight in your black area, it will break it up and it will not look like they're both just solid black. Same thing for like his little hands or his little eyes. Like you're going to see me really working those areas that I want to be lighter with that C5 first to get it to blend, but also to create that highlight and that separation. So even though it is black, we have varying degrees of black. For his little nose, his ears, and his little tootsies, his little pigs, I went with a pink, just because it made sense. You know, he's adorable. And then in order to complement the scene, the bamboo that he is holding, I did that same G29 that we did our own bamboo leaves with. So that's it. That's pretty much the whole bear. This is such a quick video. Then I'm going to die cut it out with its coordinating die. Something to note about the coordinating die is it includes the bamboo, like the bear, the little piece of bamboo, and then one sentiment. It doesn't have a die for every sentiment. So just something to know. Here, I looked at putting it up top, but I typically like to stamp my sentiments where they're a little bit tighter into my focal point. And so I am stamping over my bamboo. It is a little bit difficult to see in the video, but in real life, it is legible. So if you're worried about that, like if you're a person who does videos and you're worried about it being legible, you could always stamp it and then like white heat emboss it, and that would make sure that it kind of popped off the background. In order to get my little bear into his scene, I'm just going to glue him down flat. You absolutely could pop him up, but I didn't see the need. So I am going to just glue him down flat. And then again, if you watch me, you know I'm not a big fan of the white outline. So I do go in with the same coordinating colors that I've colored my scene in, and I color in that outline so that he blends. Sometimes, especially for like the background, I do have to play around to kind of find the color that's going to match. So I think the lightest color, like where that green meets the blue, I used a G40, I think is what I ended up using. But you'll just have to see, you know, because all ink blending is different. So you'll just have to compare and see which one's going to work to blend your little guy in. So that is that. And then just a few little finishing things. I did some white on his eyes. I did some little white highlights on his little toes as well. And then I don't want his eyeballs to be completely white. So I am going to go in with just a black fine liner and put the dots back in over his eyeballs. And then that's it. That is the whole card. So my husband loved it. He did laugh. I always appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys spending your time with me. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful to you, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye.